Now, whether you live in Oregon or outside of the state, voted for Kotek or voted against her, the success of a governor is something we should all care a lot about. They do have a huge amount of clout, especially if they can work with lawmakers to get the things funded that they think are important. An effective governor can help a state flourish, and that's good for everyone. And by the way, before we really get going here, a disclaimer. This report, I think, is going to make it sound like I'm a Kotek supporter. I'm not. I'm not against her either. My point is, I'm not on anyone's team. I'm not here to support the Democrats or the Republicans, the liberals or the conservatives. I'm here to dig into the stories that matter to you and to me and to sort through the BS and bring you the truth as best I can tell it through the lens of my roughly 38 years in the news biz, 33 of them right here in Portland, Oregon. Okay, that's the disclaimer. Let's move on. So far, you have to hand it to Oregon Governor Kotek. She said she wanted $200 million to fight homelessness, and lawmakers quickly agreed. She wanted a big bill making it easier for semiconductor companies to move here and expand, and she got that too. She's also the CEO of Oregon's 40,000 state employee labor force, so I guess it's not surprising that she opens her 100-day news conference by praising state workers.
I'd first like to take a moment to thank my staff and the thousands of state workers across Oregon who have been part of my first 100-day sprint as governor. You serve our communities each day. You put in the nights and weekends and late shifts away from home and family. And I want you to know that I see your sacrifice and I have your back.
It does sound a little dramatic, but okay. The governor also touted her accomplishments, including that homeless push.
I've set aggressive goals for our emergency down payment on homelessness to keep nearly 9,000 people from becoming homeless, move at least 1,200 people into permanent housing, and add at least 600 more shelter beds. We have begun the work to get us to building 36,000 more housing units per year. These goals are necessary and pragmatic and will require daily support and oversight to achieve. And they originate from a place of optimism and possibility.
It's unclear to me exactly how the state's going to track all those numbers to see if that $200 million actually did all the things they wanted to, but I have to say, it is impressive that the governor uses specific numbers like that. Many, in fact, I think most politicians avoid specifics like that because they know that reporters are going to circle back in a year and see if that really happened.
In the coming weeks, funding for my emergency declaration will be distributed with specific targets to reduce unsheltered homelessness in communities across Oregon. It's historic that we are making this kind of significant investment so quickly and with such specific outcomes tied to that funding. We are doing this because a crisis of this scale demands bold action and innovation.
And remember that just last week, the governor ripped the city of Portland and Multnomah County for not having their stuff together on where to locate new shelters. She's not afraid to speak out and hold other public office leaders accountable, and I respect that. Another topic she talked about today is education. It's one of the big three issues she promised to address during her inauguration. Oregon does not require one style for teaching children how to read. Some schools apparently use what's called a whole language approach, where children learn to recognize whole words based on context. But the state is encouraging schools to use a different approach called the science of reading, which is simply learning the sounds of letters and then sounding those words out based on the individual letters. That's how I learned to read. I don't study this area, so I had no idea that there's actually a different system than that. Looks like that whole language approach is not going all that well. A report out last summer showed just 40% of third graders, I highlighted the number in yellow there for 2022, just 40% met reading standards statewide. It's even worse to the right there for students of color, just 21%. The state's fix for that is House Bill 3198. Under that bill, the state will award grants to both school districts and public charter schools to help coach teachers, conduct summer school, tutor kids, and adopt the curriculum of that science of reading style, which again requires sounding out the letters. And the governor, by the way, is a fan.
The renewed focus on early literacy development outlined in House Bill 3198 will put our students on the right path. To date, the bill has bipartisan support to fund this work for our schools, community-based organizations, and tribes. The $120 million I targeted for early literacy should be the minimum the state invests this session. Our early literacy rates in Oregon are intolerable. Change is coming. If passed and adequately funded, the bill will be a first step toward a long-term approach to improve how we support our students' development inside and outside the classroom.
And yes, we will be keeping an eye on that to see if all that money makes things better for young readers. Hopefully it does. I'll also remind you she got that semiconductor bill passed, which includes a change in land use law that allows placing 1 or 2 large plants outside the urban growth boundary. We're not going to do a deep dive on that right now because we've covered it extensively in the past, but it's also a big win for Tina Kotek. So those are the things the governor has already accomplished in her first 100 days. But also being a veteran lawmaker, she knows how to use her position now to push for more while the legislature is still meeting. That includes another $80 to $90 million for behavioral health care.
But it's not just about the resources. It's about making sure we have the coordination, that no one is falling through the cracks. You know, what I hear from individuals is that who understand our system, we have a lot of good component parts in our behavioral health system for mental health and addiction, but they don't talk to each other really well. So we're trying to fill in the gaps, making sure the system is working better. That also includes having new leadership at the Oregon Health Authority in behavioral health to help drive that system cohesion that we're not currently seeing. So it's both resources and making sure the dollars we do have are working much better for people.
Another thing Governor Kotek wants is another $1 billion in bond money for affordable housing and another $300 million for the homeless issue.
The bipartisan housing emergency response package is a down payment on an investment that Oregonians are owed. But we can't stop there. I'm calling on the legislature to approve at least another $1.3 billion before the session is over. $1 billion in bonding to build and preserve affordable housing, and at least $300 million to continue our work on homelessness and ensure that we do not lose ground at this critical juncture.
Now, there's not really enough money in the state budget for all the things the governor wants to spend money on, which is why she's saying, hey, let's forget about putting $600 million in the state's rainy day fund and let's spend it instead right now.
A status quo budget, or worse, a cut budget, is completely unacceptable for the next 2 years ahead of us. Oregon's reserve funds stand strong at $2 billion, thanks to over a decade of prudent leadership. One thing is certain, investing in solutions now will yield far better results in the long term than padding our savings accounts while Oregonians and Oregon communities are struggling.
Well, the co-chairs of the Ways and Means Committee, which actually decides the state budget, and by the way, they're Democrats, just like the governor, they say that's a bad idea. They want the money that's supposed to be saved for a rainy day, saved for a rainy day. We'll see what happens there as well. And finally, a reporter from the Oregon Capitol Chronicle told the governor that a new poll out this morning by a group called Morning Consult has her ranked as the least popular governor in America.
Well, thank you. I have not seen the coverage, but if it's anything like the previous poll that came out from DHM, I think there are a lot of Oregonians who don't know me, right? We came off of the election, people went back to their day jobs, you know, their lives, they're not paying attention too much. That's why the One Oregon Tour is very important. My goal is to help Oregonians get to know who I am and right back at them, hear what they need from me. So it's going to take some time, but we've only been at this 100 days. I'm confident that as we continue to communicate with Oregonians in a variety of ways, they'll get to know me better, and I hope they'll like what I'm doing.
Okay, how about you? How do you think the governor has done over her first 100 days in office? We've been critical when it comes sometimes to Eastern Oregon. She's not really gone on her listening tour out that way, but her team says it is coming. We'll wait and see. In the meantime, send us your thoughts. The email is thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090. I look forward to hearing from you.